Chris.
Close to the camera. See, he's 5 pounds right now.
We're here at the media day for the 2021 Bassmaster Classic on Ray Roberts.
This is a tank. Look at the size of this thing.
Progress we've made so far on our Hobie PA14.
Got it wired up for 12 volt right now.
We got the B127.
That money!
That's a monster!
Got one. Took him long enough, didn't it? He knows.
You know that's your outro.
I know, but I mean, like, I was waiting on you because, like, you just kind of put me on the spot and it's like it didn't flow. Right?
Whatever. All right, guys. I want to thank y'all for tuning in to One Objective tonight. Guys, we got a good show lined up for you. I feel like it's going to be a good show. We're going to be going over some retirement plans for some people. We're going to be
not us.
No, not us. As much as you may think we are, since we've done a show in a while, it's not us, I can promise you. But it you know, a lot of you guys probably heard about it in the industry. Most of you have. If you have anything to do with fishing, basically you've probably heard of this guy. So and then we're going to be going over a Tuesday tackle tip, because once this show comes out, it's going to be Tuesday. So we're going to be doing some of those as long also with our Tuesday tackle tips we do on the One Objective Outdoor channel as well. So it's going to be a little bit of mixed bag of everything here. So but we also are going to be going over late summer bass fishing. It's hot. I mean, we just went through a heat wave 2 weeks ago, Chris?
Last week.
Was it
last
week.
Not this week, but the week before. This week here, but yeah.
I mean, and some of the country is still in down in Texas and Louisiana, Mississippi, all of them is still hot. It's cooled off here a lot in Virginia. I mean, compared to what it was, it's still today and yesterday was still hot. But the bite down deep this time of the year is really firing up. You can find them in big packs of them. You know what I mean? So we're going to be diving into that here in just a little while, talking about, ways to catch these late summertime bass. But in our tip of what we're going to be going over is choosing the right, I know I'm going to get picked on for this, but it's the right battery for your kayak, for your boats, whatever you may be rigging. We're going to be talking about different battery setups and sizes and what all that means, what all these mumbo jumbo numbers mean to some people that don't know, because we get a lot of calls about this all the time, and they just don't know. A lot of people don't understand what amp hours is and what it does and how long these can last. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. But first, I want to thank our sponsors. We got some really great sponsors that support our channel, support our show. And I enjoy working with these companies. Built a great relationship with them, and they support us a lot. And it's hard to find that nowadays. I think it's really hard to find that in the industry of building a great relationship. Everybody's coming and going and doing this and doing that. Everybody's everywhere, and if you're not getting that great deal, then you're going to go somewhere else. And I understand if you're getting paid like full time for this and you're living, it's different, but at that pro level. But when you get in these pro staff levels or some of these smaller pay deals, it just seems like people are everywhere. And so to have a relationship with a company is very special nowadays, it seems like. So we're very, very blessed to have the companies that we have and love working with these guys. But first off, I want to thank Missile Baits. John Cruz and Alex and Byron and all of them guys have been phenomenal people to work with. Really enjoy talking with them guys. Just calling up and talking fishing, man. It's just, or going to the Bassmasters Classic or going to ICAST where we just came from there. And the thought process that goes into designing these baits and naming them. And, I always get a kick out of how some of these baits are named. They got some funny stories to some of them. But Missile Baits, great company. I love throwing that baby destroyer. It's a perfect Texas rig, Carolina rig bait. Going to be going over that a little bit tonight with some of our summer, going along with our late summer podcast. So sorry, I'm having a hard time getting my words out today. I don't know what's going on here. But anyways, we're going to be digging in with that with the Missile Bait stuff and our late summer stuff. So also want to thank Waterland Sunglasses. They have been superior company to work with. You can see right there, it says 15% off, use promo code. I'm not sure if that code still works. The One Objective code, you can try it. Been talking with them that we're going to a whole new system now where it's going to be a link to their store. And basically that link is automatically going to have the 15% off on there. And if it doesn't, you can always reach out to us and we'll get everything straight for you on that. But or Waterland, they're really great to work with, the customer service and all that stuff. So, but anyways, we're going to have a description below on our YouTube channel and all that. Where you're viewing this at, we're going to have a description below, or where you're listening to it at, it's going to be a description below where you can click on it and go save 15% on your next pair of sunglasses. I love our Waterlands. I love the bed fishers. I love just the different lenses they have. They got a lens for every circumstance that you could run into out on the water. Even clear lenses when you're doing those late night runs. You got gnats hitting in the face.
Oh yeah.
Nothing in your eyes. They got clear lenses for those. They also got clear. You can use the clear lenses when you're doing those early morning runs where you don't really need sunglasses yet. Got a perfect pair of frames for those where you can just use your clear lens on those. So make sure you go check them out. Also, want to thank Amped Outdoors for all that they've done for us. Man, it is, and we're gonna be talking a lot about this tonight. They got great customer service. I know a lot of companies out there offer these crazy warranties, and I can tell you this: dealing with a lot of customers that have dealt with these companies, well, half the time it's not as good as grass isn't always greener on the other side.
Yeah.
Shall we say. It's, a lot of times those are for one-time replacements. If you run into the issue again, a lot of times you fight tooth and nail with it, or even just the customer service trying to get some of these batteries replaced. It can be a pain in the butt. And I can tell you right now, Amped Outdoors, great company to work with. If you have any issues, which I doubt you will, but it does happen. If you do have any issues, they'll get you taken care of immediately. I can promise you that. So make sure you go check out Amped Outdoors. Make sure you go check out some of our YouTube videos. We're on there talking about their products, and we're using it in our kayaks. We're using it in our bass boats. Love their batteries. So make sure you go check them out. And you can check out the only thing I don't have on our website is the Waterland eyewear. We don't have those on our website, but everything else talked about, you can go on to oneobjectivebf.com and you can order it all there if you like. So anyways, Chris, how you doing, man? How was your trip down at the beach?
Hot.
Looks like you're still there.
Yeah, I'm still in. This is wrong time of day, but I'm there. I'm there at 6:30 in the morning, but it's actually 3:41 in the afternoon. But
it ain't even no wind noise. That's
no wind noise, and the water's just perfectly still. I mean,
yeah. So it looks like y'all had a good time. You did some top golfing, it looked like.
Yeah, it was miserable hot though. Don't go to top golf when it's really hot.
Really?
No AC.
Oh,
just fans blowing on you. That doesn't do no good.
Yeah, not when it's especially down there at the beach when it's humid and all that stuff.
Yeah, I thought they had AC, but they don't. Because they had the heat above you, so I figured I'd have like vents blowing down on you, but they don't.
Yeah, they ain't got nothing. Yeah, me and Tammy and the kids went down to Virginia Beach several weeks ago when we went. It was kind of warm then, but it wasn't like it was when y'all went down.
Yeah,
like the heat wave and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, but no, that's cool. Did you get your golf bag?
Yeah, I got 3 of them now.
Heck yeah, man. If y'all have never been to Top Golf, or if you have and you've never looked at it, they got a drink that Chris likes, and you get your golf bag. And
I don't know if they can see it with the camera.
Yeah.
People listening on iTunes there, you can see it on. Hold up to the microphone so the people on iTunes and everybody else can see it.
Can you hear the cup?
Yeah.
But well, that's good, man. I'm glad y'all was able to get away and enjoy yourselves and have a nice relaxing vacay.
Yeah.
Did y'all walk out on the pier any? Did you see anybody catch?
No, we didn't go to the pier. The pier was probably like a mile up the beach.
Yeah.
Where we stayed, so we didn't go to the pier.
If you ever get a chance, go buy you some cheapo rods and reels.
Well, see, I bought my stuff to fish because where we stay's got like 3 or 4 different ponds.
Uh-huh.
It was just so hot, I never did go out there and try to catch anything.
Yeah,
There's people catch them there. People catch 3-4 pounders out of them. So
yeah, man.
But I never took the time to go. You know, it's hot after you've been in the beach all day. You know,
Just worn out.
yeah,
You don't even care about it no more.
yeah. I was the self-proclaimed boogie board champion of the
I
Grand
didn't
Strand.
see that.
Yeah.
You have any wipeouts? Jimmy, have any hard wipeouts?
I had a couple, yeah.
Yeah. I remember.
I got turned around. I got turned around backwards riding one of them, and it rolled me under right there at the shore.
Lost it right there at the wall.
Yeah.
She came out from under you.
Yeah, she come out from under me right there.
That's cool. I seen it. I was like, look, Chris, go, man. Tammy
Yeah.
would love to compete with you on that. I'm telling you right now. She loves that stuff. I think
it's fun, you know. You just got to catch your wave right, you know.
Yeah.
Make sure ain't no little kid standing in front of you, knock somebody down, you know. I did about run into a couple people.
I know Matthew, not this year, last year we all went and we went with James and their family and all that. We all just stayed up there near Virginia Beach, and Matthew hit one and he wiped out, and then it pushed him up on the shore, and he was trying to get up, and another one.
That's the thing. The waves you're trying to get up and it knocks you down and it rolls you around.
Matthew's pants had come down. He's mooning everybody. It was hilarious.
The water temperature was 85 degrees.
Holy moly, man. That is bath water.
Yeah, it was warm. So
you know,
say you got out, you had to get back in 5 minutes later to get refreshed again.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's crazy. So we're talking about that being bath water and all. We went for one, we went to ICAST. We went out to Jacksonville and just walked out ate at Joe's Crab Shack where we went last time when I got my super. And then we walked out on the beach, and that's the same way. It was hot.
They say parts of Miami it was 100 degrees.
Good gosh, that's warm. Yeah. I mean, that's not even refreshing anymore.
Oh, yeah.
That's sauna water. You know what I mean? So, but we went tubing, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. It's when y'all were going to the beach, I think, when y'all were leaving. That's when we went tubing. And rented a pontoon boat. James brought the tubes, and we went out there. And the day before we went out, and we just went down there by the dam. I was trying to catch some smallmouth on a drop shot. And the kids were getting bored. I said, let's pull up on the beach down here. We want to just swim a little bit, let them wade. Now I'd go fishing. I did catch a smallmouth doing that, just out there wading around. And you got in, it was hot. Like, it was really hot. But you come back home, and the pool was like, it wasn't like bath water. The pool was actually more refreshing than the lake was.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I think the lake was like 86, something like that, degrees down there by the dam. I mean, just you walk right in, it was no getting used to it, you know? And but I mean,
I figured your pool would have been real hot.
Yeah. And that's weird, man. It's not, I guess.
I figured your pool would have been in the 90s being sitting out in the sun all day like that.
Yeah. And we got in it yesterday, and it was actually really refreshing. It wasn't really hot, you know? But I think what happens is the lake, you know, it takes several days for the lake to cool down. Yeah. And we had that cool front that came in. Today we rented a pontoon. Every time I've rented a pontoon boat, my mom and dad, whatever, it's always been raining and kind of cool. I don't know what it is. So anyways, and the water felt better than the air. And then in the afternoon, the sun came out and it got a little bit better then. But but that's how it was. Like, it was just so much warmer. And the kids, they had a good time tubing. But I'm gonna tell you what, man, like, I know we fish up there all the time, and a lot of times this time of year we fish at night. We don't, but you still got some traffic, but it isn't bad. But having a pontoon boat pulling a tube stressed me out. So James stayed in the back and took care of the kids getting in and out of tubes and make sure your rope and everything was good. And then I just drove. And I mean, it was kind of stressful, man, because you're nonstop got your head on a swivel like you do in a bass boat, but you really got it on a swivel when you're pulling somebody, because you're trying to make sure you're not going to cut in front of nobody or
swing them up on the shore and throw them off of it.
Yeah, something crazy, hit a dog, you know. So I was kind of stressed out by the end of the day. I'm like, oh, I'm done with this. Like, it's over. But it was fun, and I could see myself having, like, as I get older, I could see me having something like that where you just kind of putt around on a lake and just listen to music. And
unless you want to put a 200 or something on the back of it.
Look, I ain't gonna lie to you. So we had a 150. We rented one from Captain's Quarters. Dwayne and them, great people to work with. Had a good time. It was great experience with Captain's Quarters on our boat. It's a little more pricier than everybody, but he's got pretty good equipment, except for the prop was 2 hour pieces, which I understand that, because a lot of people don't know how to operate a boat and think that you can drive them basically in inches of water.
Yeah.
When you can't. So But the prop was tore up, so the speed wasn't there. But I had a 150 Honda on it. Seemed like a great smooth motor. It's quiet. Sometimes I didn't even know it was running. I had to ask James, did the motor even start?
Yeah.
You know, you're so far back. But I think if I bought one, it'd have to have 200 on it. Just for the
Oh,
speed.
what's the biggest you can get on one of this?
I don't know, dude. That one guy up there's got one with was it 2 400s on it or 250s or something like that?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's fast. Hey man, it does that going down the lake when he's in the mornings, he's got it trimmed up. And it's getting I think it'll outrun my Ranger, I have a feeling. It's fast. I don't know how they stay together like that on aluminum. But anyways, we're kind of getting off topic here. But
yeah.
But I think if I had one, it would be a 200 on it. Just because, like with the 150, you know, when you get to a point and you pull them for so long, you're like, all right, man, I'm ready to sling these dudes off here. And you try to rock it so it'll go over the ways. Well, I couldn't even hardly get it to go. Matthew weighs more, so I could get him going
like
a
cruise ship trying to get it.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, you see that you turn it real hard and that whole thing's rocking. You hear it popping.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, you can take it out there. But we had a good time. It was fun. It was something different than just fishing. You know, I mean, I enjoy it, but like, it was fun just to get up there and just hang out, chill. So we had a good time, and we need to get you and Brittany and everybody out on one and just go have a good time out there. Maybe it'd be something like a end of summer big bash or something.
Yeah.
But we did burn the fuel. I ain't gonna lie, because you got to feel it. And Dwayne was like, "Man, you probably won't burn half a tank in this thing." And I'm like, "Man, you don't even know me." Like, so we got the idea. We wanted to run up to Blackwater and go find the cliffs. Well, apparently the cliffs are shut down anyways. Like, they didn't build the fence up. Nobody can jump off of them.
Yeah, I think people was getting hurt.
And I think somebody owns that property.
Acting stupid and yeah.
Oh yeah. So, anyways, we drove all the way back in Blackwater, and then we drove all the way to Craddock's, and then we went up. So anyway, I had filled up. It was $177 in fuel that we up there. I was like, ooh.
The lake you're gonna pay almost twice as much.
Oh yeah, what gas right now? Let's just say regular was what, 360.
Yeah, 365, 350, somewhere along there.
So up there, you're probably going to. I think it's like $5 or something a gallon.
Yeah.
So it's ridiculous, but
and it ain't no different than a regular gas. Other than it might be ethanol free, but
yeah, but that's it.
Ethanol free with Murphy right now is $4 and something a gallon.
Yeah, God, money. I guess just the insurance and stuff having fuel right on the lake. I don't know. Maybe it's a lot of tax.
Yeah, I don't know. But I guess they know people to buy it too.
Yeah, they're there. A lot of them people live on a lake don't trailer their stuff. You know.
Yeah.
I actually talked to a couple the other day when I was fishing the Thursday nighter that was surprised that I trailered my boat from Bedford here every time. I'm like, well, I ain't got nowhere to put it. Most people trailer their bass boats, but you know, just some of the people that live at the lake, that's all
they don't understand it. I guess it's to them they're like, oh, why don't you just pay a marina or whatever?
No, crazy. But anyways, let's talk a little bit about the retirement. Super happy for this guy. In a way, I'm not. You know what I mean? Like, I'm happy for him, shall I say? But in a way, I don't want to see him go. That came off wrong. It came off. Wrong. I didn't mean it that way. You know me with words; they never sound right.
Yeah.
But super happy for him. I just hate to see him go. You know, it's kind of like for me.
And of course, it's not going to show the picture.
They ain't gonna post it up, man.
I ain't gonna post. Let's see. Let's try it again. Let's see if we get to work. No, not a video.
There we go.
Oh, there it goes. Okay, it took a little delay there.
So KVD, this is his last event right now. I've been keeping up on it on Major League Fishing. He's second right now on the last day of the championship round. He needs it was like 5 pounds and something I seen, but the guy that's leading it right now has caught some freaking tanks, man. He's got a 5 and the rest are 4s. Kevin Van Dam still got a couple 2s he can upgrade from last I seen. So if he could catch a good 4, 2-4 or something like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
4.5 pounders, it would get him close. I don't know if he get to win, but it get him really close. So he's dominated the whole week up there. I think on Saginaw Bay, and he's just dominated. And I would love to see him get that last win. You know, last tournament, last win. I'm sure people are like, oh, it was planned like that.
Oh, rigged.
Staged or whatever.
Yes.
I would love to see that. I'd love to see him get his last.
I mean, they are in Michigan, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's
his area. Yeah.
So, I mean, congratulations to him. Even if he don't win this, he's had a hell of a career. nobody can say that they've done what KVD's done right now. Guys like Roland Martin, some of these older guys that have won a lot of events and all that, but they can say, but they don't have the Angler of the Years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess Roland Martin's got quite a few Angler of the Years, I guess. But anyways, but it comes to tournament wins and all that. But when you compare it to what it is now to back then, you know what I mean? So KVD was fishing against some of these guys back in the day when he first came in.
When he first got into this.
And he's progressed as technology has progressed, and he's been with the forefront of this new technology that has come out, whether it's with the live scope stuff with Humminbird and I mean, just think about what from when I had an Eagle on my Skeeter, you know what I mean, or my first Skeeter.
Yeah.
And I was just happy to have GPS then when we were running.
Oh yeah, that was the thing.
Yeah, and now I mean, and then it was side scan. You had to have that other box. Now everything is built into your graph and your transducer.
Yeah.
But and then we started getting into it was down scan, then side scan, and then now it was 360, and then now here we are with live imaging. So KVD has been a part of this and this growing up and staying with the technology and doing well. Guys like Rick Clunn, for instance, doing the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like to see the consistency that Kevin Van Dam has had, like Rick Clunn, he has some ups and downs. He does really good or he does really bad. You got Larry Nixon coming in. I haven't seen where he's really set the world on fire. Him coming back in, I know he's older. It's competing at that level is different. So to see him doing what he has done and stayed with technology, all these newer kids coming in, whether it's elites or the MLF, man, they kind of started out using this stuff on some of them. You know what I mean? Like
some was using flashers. Back in the day.
I mean, I remember fishing with a local guy around here. Let me send this real quick. I remember fishing with a guy years ago, local guy around here. Used to be really, really good. He's still good, but like he's not on the water as much as he used to be, so he's not as good as he used to be, shall I say. But I think he'd still put it on you if you had to fish a tournament against him right now. But I remember fishing with him when he had a flasher and just trying to tell me what this was and that was, and I still did not know what the heck he was talking about.
Dad bought one at a yard sale and asked me, did I want to use it? I was like, I don't know how to use that thing.
Yeah.
It might still be up at the house somewhere. I don't know. It was mounted on a piece of plywood.
Yeah. And I just couldn't imagine back in the day trying to read that thing.
Yeah, the little thing just flipping around. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah. It's amazing, man. But anyways, he's been a part of it all from, newer bass boats to newer technology with fishing, fishing graphs and rods and reels and
techniques.
Different techniques, man. I mean, you got to be so versatile nowadays. And to see him have the career he's had, I mean, look at $7 million in earnings. That's phenomenal. I mean, that's 26 career wins, 125 top 10s, and 8 Angler of the Year awards. That's crazy. Now, I know, like you can see, he's fallen off the last couple of years. He's had a couple wins, but he still has fallen off a little bit the last couple of years. But, who's to say that there's things going on behind the stage where he's doing business deals and this and that, get things set up for this moment now, and maybe his mind ain't been in the right frame where it should be fishing against those. I don't know. I'm just rambling on here, but what I'm getting at is he's had a great year. The last couple of years haven't been like, crazy, like winning Angler of the Year, being a chance to win Angler of the Year. Guys like Jacob Wheeler, Dustin Connell, all these younger guys have been up there, and they have been kicking butt. To see him still competing against them is just phenomenal, and he's always going to be the GOAT. No one's going to take that from him. And me personally, I feel like the one that maybe would have had a chance, but he didn't have the Angler of the Year championships, but the guy was right there with him at level, at skill, I think was Aaron Martins, and, it's a shame that his passing, but he was one awesome angler. And, when we had Aaron Martins on a while back, he was talking about how or several years ago, how him and Kevin Van Dam always talked about different techniques, and he'd show Kevin Van Dam how to do something, and Kevin Van Dam show him how to do something. So it was cool to see, hear about the two greats helping each other, with different techniques and stuff. So,
Yeah.
but anyways, happy for him. Hate to see him go, but best wishes to him. And from what I understand, he's still going to be in the industry. He's just going to be doing other things, whether it's working with his sponsors, stuff like that. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen next in his next chapter of life. So, anyways, congratulations to you, Kevin Van Dam. I hope you win this tournament. I don't know where they're at right now with standings. Let me see if I still got it pulled up here, just for shoots and giggles. It's 3:59. I think they're going to come in. They got 30 seconds left of period 3. He's still 5 pounds behind. So he ain't going to win this one, but big congratulations to him. So anyways, let's get into some late summer bass fishing. Let's talk about my last tournament, and then we're going to kind of dig into, why that worked this time around. And I've been trying to make it work all year long, because normally they're there earlier. And this year, where we had a cooler spring, like it just wouldn't get there. Like you would get hot days, and all of a sudden, bam, you just get hit again at nighttime with some cool nights or cool rains, or I don't know. It just, a lot of stuff was just different this year. But I feel like we've talked about that before. Like every year is like something's different. Like, and it is. Weather's different each year, but like it seems like the winter hangs on longer here lately for the last couple of years.
Yeah, it seems like it hasn't.
Yeah, like I mean, it might not be 32 degrees cold, but I mean, when we're having days when it should have been in the 80s, and it's still 60 and 70 degrees. And the shad, I mean, not the shad spawn, but the actual spawn itself. Normally I go up here and I try to take the kids to go fishing for bedding fish, because it's just cool to watch. They learn with accuracy flipping and setting the hooks and odd and end things it teaches them. And we're also able to release them right back on the bed. And we didn't get that this year, hardly. It was just weird, man. It's just weird. I'm watching your screen too, and it's like it catches up, like it's a delay.
Yeah, I got a delay. I don't. It's fine now. I don't know what the hell was going.
Yeah, it's weird. But anyways, so we fished the last Thursday nighter at USA Bass, and Jeff Mills and them did a phenomenal job. Steven and all of them did a phenomenal job at running these Thursday nighters. It's not a lot of guys in them. I mean, I think at the most there might have been more, but the most that I've seen fishing them was like 16, 17 boats, something like that. And they do a points thing. So if you got so many points by the end of the year, I think you got to have like, I can't remember. It's like 250 or 300 points, 350 points. I can't remember the exact points on that.
Yeah.
You get to go to regionals. And then from regionals, you can go to like the big tournament,
They still do their classic during the day?
I'm not real sure on that one.
I think it seemed like the past couple of years, the classic was always during the day.
Yeah, I have to.
Because they do it in September.
I got you. I had talked to Jeff and them and see.
If I remember what Steven told me correctly, I think that's what.
I don't even know if I qualified for it or not. I don't know.
Because they was doing it on Sundays, and then when that other guy took it over, they moved it to Saturdays.
Oh yeah. So I had to see on that. I'm not real sure. I'm not even sure if I qualified for it, but if I did, that's great too, because that'll be fun. But was able to fish a lot of that with my daughter and my son back and forth. I fished mostly with my daughter because my son had football, so I wasn't able to do a lot of that with him for that. But anyways, had a good time with it. It's just a fun, family-oriented kind of an event to me. You can fish with your kids. You can bring your wife, whatever,
Yeah.
But anyways, so, through the beginning of the year when the shad spawn was going on, I seemed like I could catch them pretty decent. And then I just got, I finished third on one of them, I think. Third or fourth at one of them. And then I've had a couple decent finishes, like a fifth, something like that. And then this week, this last tournament, I go down, it was so hot that when I took my daughter and them the day before, it was so hot, it it wasn't good. They swam for a while, but it was so hot we ended up leaving and coming home. So I was like, I'm just gonna fish this one by myself and see what happens, see how it goes. And I ended up having a really good night. It could have been way better. I ended up losing a 4-pounder. So I caught a 4-pounder about 15 minutes left in the tournament. They called out a little 1-pounder I had. And I had another one that was like 3 and another one like 2.5, something like that. 2.5. And I'm like, I'm praying like crazy. I'm like, Lord, just please give me one good bite, give me one good bite. And then, like I say, about 30 minutes for the end of the tournament, I flip by Doc and I hang one, man. He comes up. He's 4.5. It was hooked good. That I could tell. I mean, it's like 9:00 at night. But just shining down on him, it looked like it was hooked good. And then it finally just makes one more run and just pulls loose. It don't jump or nothing, just makes a run down and pulls loose. And I'm like, what the crap? That was my fish. That's what I've been praying for right there, Like I just needed that one more bite. And then we get about 15 minutes left. I flip by, I go down about 3 docks, and I flip by another one and I catch one. It's 407 is what it weighed. And I'm like, heck yeah, take that little one out. Puts me at 9 pounds and something with 3 fish. We only weigh 3 fish, your best 3. You don't want to take 5 in because they're trying to help with during the summer, trying to keep 5 fish alive.
Yeah.
Which I think they do a really good job because I don't see many dead fish at the ramp anymore. Like, when you used to have them 5 fish limits and stuff. And people are more knowledgeable in fish care now, with the different.
Yeah, you got better stuff to take care of them. You got, visitors and stuff to put in your live well to help them out. The coolers or whatever, to cools the water.
Cool.
Yeah, they're not boiling in a live well all day long like you used to.
Yeah, and being at night too does help. So it ain't that sun beating down on top of that live well. So, but you catching these fish in 20-some foot of water, you got to learn to fizz them.
Yeah.
Fizz them. You got to learn to fizz them, or like some people will actually buy those weights that it clips on the bottom of their fins, and you set them in a live well, and they eventually get used to that pressure, or that their bladder fizzes out, I guess. You know what I mean? Gets acclimated. That's a word. Gets acclimated. Yeah. And so a lot of that is the reasoning for so many fish getting released alive. So. But anyways, I come in and several guys away. There's a lot of 6-pound bags. And I'm like, man, I might do pretty good at this. I might have a chance tonight. Because I've been seeing the last couple Tuesday nighters that they've had out of Captain's Quarters and some of the last Thursday nighters, you have a guy bring in 11 pounds here and there. And then some tournaments, it might be like 9 pounds and something that won it, or right at 10. Everybody's bringing in 6-pound bags. I'm like, heck yeah. And the last 2 guys that came up and weighed beat me out. One guy beat me out by a half a pound, something like that.
Oh.
And then he beat me out by just a couple of ounces on big fish. I'm like, freak. And then Corey Mitchell and all of them, they came in, which I'm happy for him because he is well deserved. Them guys had a lot of second place, third place finishes this year. Was glad to see him get him one, get him another one. So, but they brought in 11 pounds and I got knocked down to 3rd. Well, guess what? They only paid 2 spots. So I was knocked out of that. I'm like, dang it. So anyways, it was fun. Had a good time. But for me, it was the deep bite, man. I've been trying to make this work for a while. And, like some of these guys have been bringing in 15, 16-pound bags on these long, like Saturday nighters and Friday nighters. They'll bring in these bigger bags, but you got more time to fish. You're fishing till like 2:30 in the morning or something.
Yeah.
You got more time to fish where we're weighing in at 10 o'clock or 10:30.
You got 4 hours.
Yeah.
Roughly.
And you're blasting off at 6:30. So they're fun because you get home in a good time and you go to bed and get up and go to work.
It's a working man's schedule.
Yeah. And, but for me, I've been trying, like I said, I did good with the shad spawn. I caught some decent fish. And then when the shad spawn was basically, it was still going on, but it was coming up so much later, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, stuff like that, where they were coming up at like 9 o'clock at night. It gets later as the year goes on. And I struggled after that, man. I would catch them on drop shots on docks, but they're all like 2-pounders, and 2-pounders are okay limit fish if you need them. But when you compete with some of these guys at this caliber that are really good at figuring these big fish out, they don't do nothing. They just if you need points, they get you points, you know,
Yeah.
but that's about it. And I just couldn't find no threes. I couldn't find no fours. I'd see them on live scope down there. It's like they just had no interest in anything I was throwing. Drop shots. Every once in a while, I'd have nose up on a Carolina rig. They just wasn't interested. So
Couldn't get them to commit.
no, and I struggled, man. I struggled for the last couple months of getting big bites. So and I kept fishing deep, man. I just kept grinding with it. But finally, everything came together. When it's super hot up there, I seem to do really well. When it is unbearable, you know what I mean? Your shirt's soaking wet from sweat, and then it's 8 o'clock at night, you know?
Yeah, it's still 89 degrees.
Yeah, I
Right.
just seem to really do better, and it just I ended up just fishing deep like I've been doing, fishing rock bluffs. You know, I fished the rock bluffs, the old Rocky Bees that we talked about,
Yeah.
and ended up catching a decent one there. I found a couple of docks that had 20 foot of water on them, caught a decent one there. And then I moved up to some other Rocky Bees up the river a little bit, and that's when it really started going. You know, my spot that I really like to fish. I don't want to release that on here, but
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
so that's where I lost the 1 4-pounder and caught the other 4-pounder. And I caught several fish up through there that were that 1.5, 2 pound range. You know, they weren't gonna do nothing. So, anyways, but I fished at 20 foot of water, man. And all I'm doing is basically I'm looking for those deep docks for a drop shot or a Texas rig, or points that go way out and then just have a sharp drop off. Because what they do at night, they'll get off that drop. They can go down in that real comfortable water, in that 20, 25 foot of water. And then at night, if they want, they can come up and they can cruise in flats on them points. And then you can, you know, if you're still there late enough, you can cast Carolina rigs across them and catch them, you know, and catch some giants like that. But anyways, I was just throwing a heavier Texas rig with a bead on it and a bobber stopper. And I'll have that bobber stopper probably about that far above the bead. And the reason why I do that because it can click back and forth.
It makes racket.
Yeah. And I always put 2 beads on there, and the 3 baits that I'm mainly throwing.
Glass beads?
Yes, glass beads. You can use plastic.
Yeah.
Depends on your budget.
Yeah.
The thing about glass beads is you got to be careful because they crack.
Yeah.
So if they crack, they can cut your line. Or if they break, shall I say.
Yeah, I've always used plastic, but I know you like using glass.
Yeah. And I used to use plastic. You know, I used to use them all the time when you go to Walmart and find them.
Yeah, that's what I did. That's what went to the craft section and buy a big bag of clear ones.
Yeah. And I can't find.
You can't find them anymore. They're hard. I went looking the other day. I guess I'm about to order them off of Amazon.
They got those weird looking ones now, like you want to make a necklace. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we don't want to make a necklace. We want to fish.
Yeah.
We don't want to pay fishing prices.
So, and you know, and I'll throw clear, and but most of the time now it's black and red. That's what I'm throwing glass beads wise. I have been putting a clicker on the end, so right where my knot is, especially like on my Carolina rig. Yeah. I don't do it on my Texas, but on my Carolina rig, where the beads come down and hit the knot.
Yeah,
I got a brass clicker now, or a brass piece that goes on there.
Oh, okay.
And it helps. It just protecting the knot mainly. With those big heavy weights going back and forth when you cast it. So, but anyways, I got 3 different baits I'm throwing. I'm throwing a pocket crawl and a green pumpkin. I'm throwing a baby destroyer and a green pumpkin, and I'm throwing a mag 2 black. That's what I throw. I have thrown like plum colors. I'll switch that mag 2 up to different colors. You know, we got black, we got plum, we got what's that other one we were throwing? Like electric blue or
electric blue, something other.
Yeah, something like that. That's what I throw. And then, you know, on my Carolina rig, I just did a video not too long ago. I'm throwing some kind of creature bait, like I say, destroyer. Basically, those same 3 baits I'm putting on a Carolina rig and dragging around. And I'll have 2 Carolina rigs rigged up, and I'll have 2 to 3 Texas rig rods rigged up. That's basically all I'm doing. I'll have a drop shot and a shaky hit sitting up there.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I'll throw that popper out there right before dark, just see if I can kind of get me a good bite. Sometimes you can get a good one on there right before it gets dark on a popper. But like I say, I'm looking for those points. I'm looking for those rock bluffs. Examples of how we're fishing these rock bluffs. It's stair step rock bluffs basically. So if you watch it, it'll go out for a little. Well, when you first cast, it's got that first drop, and it'll go out, drop, and it'll change depending on the point and how it comes out. Sometimes that stair step gets narrower or whatever, but it's heavyweight. And a lot of times, I mean, me and Chris have caught on all the way down there 40 foot
Oh yeah.
doing that. And what I'm doing is you really got to know, you really got to pay attention to your line. If you got a black light, it makes it 10 times easier.
Yeah, you can watch it move.
Yeah, you can watch it. You can watch it fall because depending on where you're at on that bluff or wherever, it could be a longer drop to the next level. So I'll ease it or pop it, and then when it seems like my line's getting tight, like it's doing that fall, I'll click the button and I just peel line out. But that's when that black light's important, because when you're peeling line, you can see if it jolts real hard and stops, like they're getting.
Or if it starts going off to the side.
Yeah, if it's going off to the side or they're running at you, you know, where you
Yeah.
can't feel them. So when it gets down deeper like that, it is harder to feel them. And so, you know, I'll use like a mono blue, or they got several fluorocarbons out there now that you can use for.
Yeah, it glows in the light.
So that's really important with the black light and fishing those deep bluffs and all that stuff is having. But now I have fished it this year without no black light, just because halftime I'm like, I gotta go, I gotta hurry up and get out of here, and I don't mess with it too much. But it's very vital to have when you're fishing those deep bluffs. And you know, and the thing that you have to anticipate fishing rock bluffs is you're going to lose a lot. Yep. It just happens. And 9 times out of 10, Chris tell you, I'm not going over there to get it. We're just going to break it.
No, you're not going to ruin the spot. You know,
yeah.
Just going to break it off and retie.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, that's the downfall of using, like, for instance, tungsten and glass beads. You can get away with using lead on that, in my opinion. It ain't like you're fishing highly sensitive stuff that you need to feel. The one thing about tungsten, if a fish does pick it up and you got lead, I feel like you can feel them a little bit easier if they hit that weight. You know what I mean? Yeah. It just jolts it a little bit more. But if you got good line and a sensitive rod, I think that is more important, having a good sensitive rod, than it is having the best reel on the market. You know, when it comes to that, especially when you're fishing deep, you need sensitivity, and that, like with drop shot and all that, sensitivity is key. So a good rod for all of that is the most important thing, I think, when it comes to that. So, but yeah, I mean, but that's mainly what I'm running right now. I'm just deep docks, rock bluffs, and then if I come across, I got about 6 or 7 good points in the same area that I'm fishing that have good drop offs, and that's what I'm looking for when I pan over to the live scope. What kind of fish are there? Does it look like big groups? And the thing is, if you're patient enough, some of these fish, some are getting to the point where they're kind of scattering or starting to pull. So some of these fish at this time of year are going to start moving in those creeks. As if you get to fish the mouth of the creeks where the points are, they'll pull back in there a little bit. They'll start pulling back in. The days are getting shorter. Yep. They know it's time to move back in there and start feeding. So they're not going to make a drastic move, but sometimes you're more active fisher back there then, because they've already moved. You know what I mean? You might have 6 or 7 out on the point, and then you might go out and you have 10 or 11 in a school on a secondary point, you know, in that creek. So this is the time of year where you're kind of running everything. But I feel like if you can do it, you can just run rock bluffs or deep ledges the whole time, because there's going to be fish there. They're going to be stacked.
Oh, yeah.
Some of them fish stay on that main channel all year long. They ain't going nowhere. If the bait fish are there, they're going to stay there. That's just, I mean, there's rock bluffs. We've caught them in dead winter there. I've caught them middle of summer. I've caught them in the spring. They'll spawn there, you know, because some of these fish will spawn deep if it's the lake's good and clear, you know, and it don't fluctuate a lot. They'll stay down there and spawn as well. So, but that's basically it for the summer bite. Like I say, that's my setup. I'm using a good rod, sensitive rod. I'm using a G Loomis now for that, and then I'll use fluorocarbon, using Sunline fluorocarbon, the Sniper. But you know, you can move over to either your fluorescent colors, like in monos, just so you can see the black light if you want to. And but like I say, there is some fluorocarbons out there that have the UV stuff in it, so you can pick it up to your black light as well. So make sure you check all that stuff out. And good hooks, good weights, and glass beads, man. You can check out the One Objective weights on oneobjectivebf.com. We got a pile load of tungsten on there, from drop shots and ecos to bullet weights and all that. So make sure you go check all that out as well. So, but that's basically it. That's what I'm going to be running right now. I'm probably going to go again coming up week. I got a few projects I want to work on, but my wife's birthday is coming up too, so I don't want to go too far and be gone too long.
Yeah, might get in
now.
trouble.
Yeah, I don't want to get in trouble. So we're gonna be doing some festivities family wise. School's starting up. Football. My son's playing JV football this year, so really excited for him on that. And it's just a lot of stuff going on. My daughter's going to do some sports as well for fall, so I want to work in the fishing through the week and try to. But I wanted to go out and do a good recording at nighttime, and I might have to borrow you one day, Chris, and we'll go out and do some recording
We'll
and
do
just
it.
kind of talk about. I did. I don't know if I got it on. I'm gonna try to do another video. I got a video coming out of that tournament. I don't know what the footage is that I got, because once it got dark, it's hard to do anything. But I did pull up on a dock that had a dusk to dawn light or had a bait light in the water. I mean, and dude, I don't know how many little stripe. I thought they were white bass at first, and then I caught one, and they're all about, I don't know, 14, 15 inches long, 16 inches long, maybe.
Fought like a 30-pounder.
Oh my gosh, dude. I was throwing a swim bait and they were choking it. Every single one of them was choking it. It was the craziest thing. But I caught like 6 or 7 of them, and I was like, man, I got to go back to bass fishing. Like, this is too fun.
Yeah.
I ended up quitting messing with them, left them biting, but I want to take the kids up there and get them to catch some. But we had a good time, and that was on baitcaster equipment. That was still the same swim bait I was throwing at High Rock. I mean, not High Rock, but Hartwell. When we went down to South Carolina, they were just chewing it up, man. And their mouths are smaller, so like to get that huge swim bait in their mouth they were doing, it was just crazy. So, but anyways, let's get into one more topic that I wanted to talk about tonight, and like I discussed earlier, when it comes to batteries. I'm not going to cover this real long. This is going to be like just a couple minute segment. I just wanted to kind of go over a few things that we get a lot of questions about when it comes to picking the right battery for the setup that you have. And the biggest thing for me is when it comes to like your XI3s or your Tarovas, or, whether you're using Minn Kota or Motor Guide, is picking the right battery for the right setup with that. And people always ask me, how long can I go? Can I fish all day? Well, fishing all day is 2 different terms for people. Some are going early in the morning and coming off around 12, 1 o'clock when it gets hot. Some are going early in the morning, coming off at dark.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I know lithiums are really expensive right now, and be honest with you, lead acid batteries ain't too far behind it, but they're still not lithium price. Right now, amped, you can get 100 amp hour one through us with the charger, I think for like $7.99 or something like that. Yes, that's a lot of money. I mean, you can go buy a Group 31 lead acid. What do you think that costs, Chris? $200 right now?
Group 31, probably, yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
If you get the little cheapo, you probably get a little cheaper than that.
Yeah. But you're kind of getting that warranty behind it as well. And the thing about kayaking or lithiums in general, you're paying a lot of it's the technology in it, but how light they are. I mean, you don't want to put a Group 31 in a kayak, especially when you're already adding 40 to 43 pounds to the front of your kayak with putting a motor on it.
Yeah.
And then you're going to put your battery in the back, and you're adding another 75 pounds plus.
Oh, yeah.
With a with a lead acid. So when you can get away with 100 amp hour for like 20 pounds, let's just say 20 to 25, depending on the manufacturer that's getting it. So for one, you're paying for the weight reduction that you're getting with that. If you're like me, I carry a lot of crap when I go fishing. I got 12, 13 rods with me when I go fishing, especially in the Hobie, because it just gives you the ability to bring so much more. And then I got a bunch of tackle, man. We got the Hobie under seat with 6.
Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Yeah. And when like you travel and fish a lot of these big events, you're far from home. You're out there in practice. I'll wing it down for the tournament sometimes. It just depends on how bad my practice is. But you can wing it down a little bit, but you still want to have it out there. I don't like to have, and Drew Gregory, and they can get away with it, man. They do it because they fish all this small stuff all the time. But for me, I don't want to have 3 boxes with a bunch of stuff in it, or like say 2 or 3 crankbaits and 2 spinner baits and a couple worms and this and that in one box. I want to have that box full of all those worms I'm going to throw, and the crankbaits, all the crankbaits I'm going to have. And just in case I bust those, I got a couple more I can go to, I like having 4 and 5 extras of baits. just in case you make a bad
And
cast.
especially if you catch them, and if you catch them on them and you start losing stuff, you know.
Yeah, and you know, and sometimes it's small changes on the lake that can make a big difference. Whether it's just the size, weight, the lead head you use on your swim bait head. You know what I mean? Your swim bait. There's so many different variants. So I carry a lot of stuff with me. I'm getting off track here. I gotta get back to the battery. So that's a lot of weight already. And then when you add all the if you add lead acid, it's just crazy weight. So the benefits right out the gate is the lightness of the lithium. You're also going to get a lot longer runtime on lithium than you are with lead acid. Now, when it comes to picking the right size, so like for we get this question. This is the question we get all the time. What size battery do I need for my XI3? I tell people do not go under 80. And a lot of this is because of the motherboard that is built into the top of these things are built for certain amp draws. And how long they can do that amp draw for.
You know, it'd be nice.
What's that?
They do it in the computer world. Maybe they should. That'd be nice. Somebody could come up with it for, you know, kayaks or whatever. It's called pick your part, and it tells you. You pick all your stuff that you're going to have on your computer, and it tells you what type of power supply you should have for it. They should be neat if they had something like that for kayaks and boats. You know.
Yeah.
Like what type of electronics you're going to have. You're going to have this light. You're going to have this type of trolling motor. And then it adds all this wattages and stuff together, and it tells you, okay, you need this to power it.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
and you know,
if they had something like that for boats and kayaks,
exactly. And you know, for amp, they have a general idea chart, I guess. So let's say like they're going like, all right, you're going to run this pound thrust motor, you need this size battery, or you're going to run because this pulls that many watts and this and that, you know. So they have a chart, but it's nothing like how, like, I know what you're talking about with the computer, like what you would need to run this and that, you know. But I always tell people, don't go under 80 on a bow mount trolling motor setup. 80 has lasted me and James a long time running when we were like running our Titans and we fish some of that stuff. We make long runs, wide open. That's where it kills you, man. Those wide open long runs.
Yep.
Is where it drains it quick. And I mean, you can drain them down in an hour and a half quick. So, you know, when you're just fishing off and on and off and on and off, that ain't too bad, especially at low speeds. Now, if you get in grass where it's clogging it up and you're having to go wide open,
bog it down.
Yep. And you know what a motor does when it starts getting bogged, pulls more amps.
Yep.
So then you got to make sure your wiring is great and your plug.
Yeah, make sure you ain't catching your boat on fire, your kayak on fire.
Met your kayak in half right there.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure all that's right. But you know, I don't recommend under 80. I don't care what brand it is, Dakota, all that. And you know, a lot of people, oh man, Dakota said I could run a 50. Well, that's great that they tell you that 50 amp hour. My problem is, let's say you're across that lake, you've been fishing, and all of a sudden this hellish storm just brews up. We've all been there. We know it happens. And you're like, crap, I really need to get across that lake. And the wind just starts blowing like crazy. And you're
and you're fighting the wind.
Yeah. And then you're like, man, I think I got enough left in my 50 amp. I don't know. I think I can get across it, but I can't run wide open because I don't want to burn it up.
Yeah.
That wind gets blowing real hard and you're running on speed 3, 4, and you're just sitting still, not going anywhere. You got to run it wide open. And when you're running like that and you got the wind pushing you, it is that much more on it, you know? Yep. So, I highly, and let's say you get out on the river, big rainstorm comes in, the current's going, you know, especially way up the river, you know, like around here, like Big Island, for instance, where we fish at, you can get rain up in, Lexington and all that stuff way up the river. And within a few hours, you'll notice a difference in current speed and all that. And you don't want to be caught in that, you know? So I always tell people, go with more than what you think you're going to need. So like a 50 amp, people say 50 amp. I'm like, man, don't do that to yourself. Just don't do it.
Just pay the extra money and get the bigger one. Be done with it.
Exactly. Just pay the extra money. Now, if you wanted to go in and series them, you know, and do something like that, maybe. You know what I mean? Because series, let me give them.
You're saying 250s to make a 100?
Yeah.
Would it be cheaper just to go on and buy the 100?
Sometimes it just depends on the sale and all that they got going on. You know what I mean? But But also check with your lithium companies.
Yeah.
Some of them don't recommend doing that.
Yeah, they don't want you blowing something up.
But like for us, we got 260s in our box, and that's what we run. And but the way they're rigged, so we can keep it as a 12-volt system and run the XI3. But if we wanted to put like a Newport on the back, and it's a 24-volt system, we can flip it and be a 24-volt system. You know what I mean? It's just gonna be like a big 60 then. So that's how we got ours rigged up. But if you do it like that, that's fine. But I don't. If you're just gonna run one, make sure you get at least an 80. I recommend 100 because you never know. You can get there one day and you're like, man, I'm slaying the crap out of them. I don't want to come off the water. I'm gonna fish till dark.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna run out. And some kayaks are easy to paddle. Some aren't. I can tell you that right now. I mean, when you get way out there and you that's the last thing. You go to hit that button, she just shuts off. Or you just run across the lake and it just shuts off. It's no warning. Good night. You're paddling now.
Have fun on a Titan.
Yeah. Oh God, that was miserable. So, anyways, and pedal drive sucks. So I'm not kidding. I was just kidding. I'm not. It sucks. But so anyways, that's basically. And then when it comes to running graphs and all that stuff, depending, graphs are getting more powerful. If you're going to run live scope, if you're just running your graph with side scan, that's one thing. If you're running your graph and you want to run side scan and live scope, you're going to need something more.
Yeah.
2D sonar does not pull much juice. Live scan pulls a pile of juice because you got your separate box and all that. Side imaging actually pulls a good amount of juice if you run that all day, So that's why I cut a lot of stuff off if I don't need it. If I'm graphing and looking for structure and fish, I'll leave my side scan on. If I'm shooting across the lake to another spot, I know I'm going to run at speed because side scan, you got to have a certain amount of speed anyways, so it ain't blurry.
Yeah.
So I don't even cut it on unless I'm going to make that run. I'll cut it off because it's so distorted you can't see it that well. So, but live imaging, all that stuff, that pulls juice. So I always tell people, if you're going to run your graphs, let's say you're running a 9-inch. It seems like the norm right now has been like running a 9-inch Garmin with the live imaging and all that stuff. I tell people at least run a 60 if you can, because the thing you're going to get into, let's say you go on a 2-day event and you forget to charge your batteries. You might have a little bit extra to get you going get you through the next day. But if you're going to run, let's say on that battery, you're going to run GoPro chargers and all your GoPro and everything, you got it linked in and it's going to charge all day while you're running. Or you got LED lights don't really pull much, but if you're fishing in the morning or at night, you know what I mean? It pulls a little bit, but it's not enough to really drain it. But you got all that pulling at one time though on it. The one thing you do not want to do is you do not want to run a motor on the same on the same battery that you're going to pull your stuff for your graph because you get so much interference. It just is not. You don't want that because one, it's going to pull it down if you're running live imaging. So and then your trolling motor is going to pull it down. It ain't going to last no time. I don't care if you got an 80. You know what I mean? It ain't going to last.
Yeah, this is not going to last.
So anyways, that's just kind of the tip is making sure that you do your homework, see what the amp draw is on whatever you're going to run, and try to match it up and go a little bit bigger than what you're going to, than what you think you're going to need. That's my opinion. Spend the money, cry once, then crying later. You know what I mean? Not twice. So, but like if getting back to it just real quick with the grass stuff, if you're just going to run like a regular rants with side imaging, down imaging, or Chris, like the Garmin you got, which one is it you got? You remember?
7SV.
Yeah, the 7SV. If you're going to run something like that, I think a 30 amp hour will probably do you just fine. It's when you want to start upgrading and getting all the extra add-ons, live scope and all that stuff. So if you have plans in the future to get that, go ahead and get a battery that'll support it, and go from there. So that's where I'm going to go at for the tip on that one when it comes to battery stuff. So got one more. Let's see. Oh, got one more thing I want to talk about. This is getting close to the end of the show here. Two more things I want to talk about, but one of them we're going to be going. I want to give you a little sneak peek into what next week's show is going to be like. We're going to be talking about the one comment that I freaking hate when I post a video of a kayak is you should have bought a boat. Why don't you just buy a boat? What idiot. Why would you put all that money in a plastic boat?
Why would you spend $100,000 for a bass boat? Does that be the rebuttal to that? I mean, what some people do, but
Yeah, and
to each their own. It's to each their own, as far as I'm concerned.
exactly. It's you made your money. That's how you want to spend it. But my number one comment when it comes back in it is I can't fish. I can't use a boat in a kayak tournament. That's why I have what I have. I can fish a kayak. Some kayakers will fish in a regular boat tournament. You can do that. But you can't take a bass boat and fish a kayak tournament. Just can't do it. It's against rules.
Yeah.
So the kayak series is getting popular, man. I mean, it's a lot of people doing it. It's a lot of people coming out of bass boats to fish this kayak stuff. I have seen here lately, there's a lot of guys that's been in the kayaking industry for a while that are moving into the boat side of things. And I think that's great. I think that's a great building block. You know what I mean? From going from the kayak to the boat, because, something I've always talked about, me and James talked about, it's a big topic. What you get from other listeners and fans of the show and what we do is they felt like when they went from the boat to the kayak, that they broke down fishing so much better. You know what I mean? Like they broke down an area so much better is what I meant, not fishing. And they quit the running and gunning. You know what I mean? Because you can't.
Yeah.
You can if you got like Torpedo or a motor, and you can run from this lay down to that lay down. But I'm talking like getting it and going 4 miles up the lake without loading it back on your truck and going. You're hunkered down in an area, and you're going to fish it out. You're going to break it down just that much more. Okay. And I think starting out in a kayak is key to that, moving up to a boat. And if you're already in a boat, go take your kayak out if you got one, or a buddy's kayak, and fish. You know what I mean? Fish the lake, fish the big body of water that you normally fish. You'll break it down so much more. You slow down. So, but I think that's a big key there. And then with having a kayak and learning in a kayak, but getting back to the topic of why you should have bought it, why didn't you just buy a boat and all that? Because you can't fish a kayak tournament. But also I got a boat. And the crazy thing, and we're going to break the numbers down in the next show. We're going to break the numbers down into maintaining a boat, rigging a boat versus rigging a kayak, a John boat. We're going to break it down because James has got a John boat that he's fully decked out that y'all seen. We had a video up about it. Yep. So we're going to go over all three and we're going to break your numbers down. And it's probably going to surprise you a little bit on some of it. It surprised us when we finally sit down and wrote it down with the numbers, with going from a kayak to a John boat to whatever, you know what I mean? And then just, whether having a boat over a kayak, if you've got a family and this and that, and it's so many variables into what you should put your money into and why you put your money into it and this and that. So make sure you guys stay tuned, because the next show I think is going to be a good show. It's going to be a fun show. I'm actually going to see if I can get James to come on and talk with us about it. Yeah. Because we've done so much rigging with stuff. We know what the cost is. We know what it costs to do this and that. So we're going to go over that next topic, and I hope you guys can tune in on it. We might do it live. I don't know. It just depends. Right now, it's still kind of hard to do live, but we might. I don't know. And also, one more thing I want to talk about just real quick. I'm just going to touch base on this because this is in the beginning stages. We're still on the men's if we're going to do this or not. I'm not sure. It's just been a conversation between me and my wife, and I would like for you guys, if you are watching this, put in the comments below if you'd like to hear something like this, or if this is something you'd be interested in listening to. So me and my wife, we've been talking, and, there's a lot going on in the world right now with, if you're a family, it's a lot going on in the world and the school systems and just everything in general, raising a family at this time, at this day and age. And me and my wife's been talking about maybe doing like a podcast show, and it ain't all going to be about the drama and what's going on in the world. Like, we want to do everything. We want to talk about some of our vacations, things that you can do with your kids. We also want to get some great guests on talking about whether it's raising a family this time in this day and age, or whether it's just odd end stuff. I don't want it to be just raising kids. It's going to be a family. I want it to be a family show. You know what I mean? And talk about just our life a little bit. And that way you guys can know my wife and my side of my family a little bit more. You know what I mean? Not sure what it's going to be called yet. We're still working on that. Like I say, we're still at the planning stages of it. It's going to be a pre-recorded show for a while. until we build up an audience and feel like we could do like maybe a live show or something like that. You know what I mean? But I want it to be more of that round table discussion. The guests that we have, I would love to have some of them here in studio. You know what I mean? And we're working on something else in the family room, and maybe that can be something there for that. I'm not sure yet. We're still working on it. I'd love for Chris to be a part of it too. It just depends on scheduling and all that as well.
Yeah, we'll make it work.
Yeah, but it's just going to be, it ain't going to be the outdoor fishing and hunting. I mean, fishing will come up in it some. I'm going to tell you that right now.
It's gonna be like everyday life.
Yeah, it's just
Things, stuff, and things.
Yeah, just so that's something we've been thinking about. I really wanted to get on there and do this with my wife just for the fun of it, you know, and just see where it goes. So that's something we're working on. Make sure you just comment below here if that's something you'd like to hear, something you'd like to see, or whatever. And we'll see. I don't know. Right now, it's just gonna be podcasts. I don't even know if it's gonna be YouTube stuff right now. You know, it's just all gonna be up on iTunes and all that stuff. But I'll keep you guys up to date on it, and when we decide to do it, and go from there. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But other than that, guys, I really appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. I know this was a long show. Had a good time talking with Chris. We're going to work on getting some guests on. But like I say, right now with football and my daughter's sports, and you know, Chris had vacation, and I'm not blaming none of this on Chris. He had that schedule for a long time, but just trying to work out a good like we're recording this now at well, it's 4:40 now on a Sunday. So like I say, and this is going to go up when you're listening to it now, which will be Tuesday. That's when we're recording this right now, but just because of time restraints and working all this in. So that's how a few shows are going to be, but I'm going to try to get some guests on and work some things out with that as well. So not sure when we're going to go back to live. We'll just have to see on that. But two more things real quick. If you haven't, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Also go check out One Objective Outdoors. We're growing. We're over 500 subscribers on that now, which is, we're pretty happy with that, because it's just starting a new channel, man. I just forgot how hard it was. So make sure you go over and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button there. Check out all our videos. That's where our hunting, fishing, certain odd and end things we do, like truck reviews or whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever we're doing. That's going to be kind of our everyday outdoorsy channel. And then One Objective Bass Fishing is where we're doing all our installs now, and new products and all that stuff. So if you haven't, go to One Objective Outdoors, hit the like button. Also follow us on Instagram. Not real up to date on that yet. Still working on trying to get back to normal with running that page. But other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed the show. Please put a review if you're on iTunes down below what you think of the show. It means a lot. Help getting the show out there, getting it pushed a little more when we get those reviews. And then also comment down below what you love about the show and all that. So, and I'll have links below for all the products that we are selling, and then also where you can go and save 15% on your Waterland sunglasses. So on that, guys, we'll talk to you later. See you.
See you.